are the buttons that,
oh, they're pretty.
can you see them all right?
Yes, yes.
Right, so
Yeah.
some of these you could make into brooches. I suppose these bigger ones here you could make into brooches, you know?
Mm.
I made one this morning and it took me half to 3/4 of an hour. Right, so and while you're working on them, I'll tell you about the history of it, but I don't want to do that now and waste time. You need a ring. Now, if I show you on a little ring like that, I'm not sure that you'll be able to see what you're doing. Oh, Heather's got a nice lock there. Where did you get those?
Yeah, I was given to them years ago, and I've just kept them in a box. I've never used them.
So they're old ones.
Very, very old. I think they were my grandmother's, actually. I think they were my grandmother's, really, yeah.
So that's really interesting, because some of them they have lost the patterns for, apparently.
Oh, right.
So, yeah.
I need them then.
So a little ring sort of that size. Right. Now, I found the best stuff to use is cotton pearl. I don't know, are you all aware of things like this, cotton pearl? Do you know what cotton pearl is?
No.
No, if I talk about things you don't understand, just say.
No,
what
I've got crochet cotton.
Yeah, crochet cotton will be okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, originally they were made with sewing thread, so you know, but that's a bit thin for us. So I've got different weights of cotton pearl. So if you want to make a lot of these, which you might, they're quite nice on your journals. They look good, and they make nice little fastenings on your journals. So what I'm going to do is show you in a large on a large ring with a thick thread. I'm not going to make this ring. I'm just going to show you how to do it. I have done them like this. They make nice Christmas decorations. Now, if you take your thread, and you'll want about, for the size of rings you've got, I don't know about Heather, she probably want a bit more. You want about 3 meters. So take off about 3 meters. Because I did one and I didn't have enough yarn left to finish it. So what I'm going to show you first is called casting. So like casting on really, but it's called casting. Can you see what I'm doing there? So I've got my thread at the back of my hoop. Put your thread through your hoop and make a loop like that. So you put your thread through and make a loop. Does that make sense? I mean, just say if you can't follow what I'm saying.
Can you show us again?
Yeah. So put your thread, so the thread has gone through the hoop, and I'm holding the hoop. I'm holding it up on the top of the hoop, actually.
Yeah, okay. Like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Then make a loop like that.
Okay. In front of the loop. In front of the ring.
Yeah. So the loop is kind of around the ring. So the back one bit, it comes through the ring and around to the top of the ring. Right. Okay. Everybody right that far?
No.
You're right, Lorna?
I think so.
Okay. Then I happen to have this is some sort of cord, and it's in a bundle. So now your thread is facing away from you. Because it's in my fingers there, look. And it's threading, it's away from me. So bring it through the loop that you made. Now if you've got yards of it, it'll take you a while.
Oh.
So then you pull up like you've got a knot round your hoop.
Right.
You know, just a single knot round the hoop.
Yeah.
And hold your loose end on top of the hoop. what you're going to do is knot over it all the way until you know, have covered a decent bit of it. Thread it. You can thread a needle. This is what they tell you to thread a needle. But I found with the thicker thread, it's easier to do it without. But you can thread a needle if you want to.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like that.
Yep. So you should have a short end, which is on top of your
Yep.
hoop.
Yep.
And then a long end, which is you're going to work with.
Right.
Right, so hold your thread. If you're holding your thread on top of your hoop in your left hand, with your right hand, just make a loop like that. So my thumb has gone back down onto that thread. Then pick up your ball of whatever you've got and push it from the back to the front through the loop. So what you're really doing is like a buttonhole stitch or
Blanket stitch.
Blanket stitch, yes.
Okay, and then pull, once you push that end through your loop, pull it up to make your stitch. So you make a loop, and go from the back to the front. Pull your end through and pull it up. Pull up your knot like that. And make another loop. Actually, you could make the loop on the top actually, it might work better. Make the loop, it doesn't really matter as long as you make a loop. And then put your thread through the loop. Right, so you've got your string, your thread coming out the top of your buttonhole stitch. Okay, can you see?
Yeah.
Make a loop and put your thread through the loop. It doesn't matter whether it comes underneath or over the top, as long as it goes around the ring and you can pull it up like that. And I'll just tell you that the agricultural workers used to make about a gross of these a day.
Oh gosh.
In old money, that's about 144.
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
You okay, Lorna?
Yeah, I think so. I've got a nice little line.
Yeah.
On the top where I've got the little knot.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want. Exactly what you want. Great. Right, so keep going and keep them as tight as you can to each other.
Yes, I'm fine. It's coming.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. It's really easy once you. It's just
really relaxing.
Yeah. So what you need to do is go all the way around your ring as tight as you can until you get to sort of there.
That's good.
Okay,
Yes.
and keep the buttonhole bit on the top, the little loop bit on the top.
Yes.
Okay. I love Dorset. I'm Hampshire, but I love Dorset. Began in Shaftesbury, which is a hill fort town, which is like probably Saxon's hill fort town.
Maiden's Castle.
Sorry?
Maiden's Castle, is it?
Somewhere near there, isn't it? Maiden's Castle, but Shaftesbury is right up on top of the hill. Between the
Isn't that the Hovis advert with the boy with the bike?
Yeah, in Gold Hill. Yeah, Gold Hill. Yeah. The butter industry started between 1680 and 1685. And the first buttons were made by a man called Abraham Case and were known as high tops. and began a trade which employed thousands, men as well as women and children. And in its heyday, the trade brought in some £12,000 a year, which in those days was a lot of money, I think. Then his eldest son, Abraham Case's eldest son, opened a large depot at Blandford. Do you know, anyone know where Blandford is?
Yeah,
Yes,
Blandford.
I've been there.
Blandford Forum, it's down near the south, towards the
Yes.
south. And by 1720, there were depots in Dear Regis,
Oh my God.
Milton St Andrew, Sherborne, Pools, Langton the Travers, Tarrant Kingston. So it spread all over Dorset in effect by 1720. At the Milbourne Stylham Agency, set up by Peter Case Jr. in 1803, buttons were accepted every Friday, and the place resembled a fairground as the crowds were so great. Another Peter Case, the grandson of Abraham, was sent to Liverpool, where he started an agency clearinghouse for export trade. He invented an alloy for the rings on which the buttons were made, but the secret for this has been lost. Old buttons made on these rings show no sign of rust.
No.
We're told that expert button makers could make a gross a day, for which they were paid 3 6
Wow.
Dirty buttons were washed in a bag. Well, I suppose if they came in off the field and sat down making buttons or stood up making buttons, their hands would have been pretty dirty.
Filthy. Yeah.
Yeah. And the women actually probably didn't have very clean hands. And it was something they did, like if I'm a lace maker, and the lace was done for, you know, extra money. Is how they bought shoes for their children and food sometimes. So buttons for export were sewn onto pink paper, seconds on navy blue paper, and third quality onto yellow. And these last two were sold in the home market. So we didn't get the best ones in England. They didn't get the best ones in England. They got exported. So that tells you all about it. And then there are different types of buttons. The high tops, which were first made in 1680. I don't think I've got a copy of any of those. I've got a picture here, but it's not very good. And then there was a knob, which actually you can buy some biscuits down in Dorset, down Bridport way, and they're called Dorset knobs. And so I think the name might have come from these buttons. So anyway, I digressed a bit. There was a bird's eye button in 1700. These last two were made for ornament only and were used on coats and waistcoats. So I was wondering actually how you do them up. So they're quite decorative little. Can you see the?
Oh, good, thanks. I've got all about them.
It's that one and that one they're talking about. So those two funny little donut things. Then there's a singleton, an old Dorset, which doesn't have a date, and a mite, which is a tiny, tiny little button down the bottom here of my finger. Tiny little button.
What's that then?
That one is a singleton, that is.
Because it's got like a cotton back.
That's right, and they were invented in 1712. So that was a slightly different method, I think, where they put a piece of cotton in it. Yeah, so, and it does say here, to make Dorset buttons, use fine wire rings, as these are best. Metal or bone rings can also be used, but not plastic, as these break. So we're making plastic ones. But I guess we're not going to be doing up cardigans with them all the time, are we?
This is an old earring, and I wore.
Yes.
I'm not sure if I'm doing it right either. But,
I've got to get this into a
Oh,
board.
well done, Ruth. Yeah. Let's see, Lorna, you finished? Nearly?
I've gone, no, I've only gone that far round.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Just keep going. That's fine.
My little ridge keeps wanting to spiral around it.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
you could do is you could hang it up like that. Mine's not twisted, so it'll come out.
Just
And then
spiral
it'll
itself.
untwist. You
Yes,
see, if
yes.
you hang it up, it untwists. Okay, so I've closed up my gap,
Right.
and then what you do is take your needle. You will need a needle for this. Thread your needle. And
I'm using the needle now. Yeah.
okay, yeah, and put your
I
needle
find it
through.
easier.
Let me see where my gap was there. Can you see that gap?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to pretend that gap is closed, and then I'll put my needle through one of the loops, the first loop I came to
Right.
of the sort of top of the buttonhole, the frilly bit of the buttonhole. Okay, and pull it through, so that will close up the gap.
Right.
Okay. What you need to do is, after you've done the casting and you've joined it, you do what they call slicking it. So you push that frilly bit and onto the inside of or the back of the button.
Oh, right.
So that you've got a nice, you can leave it on the outside if you want to do a decorative edging, but for the proper buttons, okay, so your frilly bit's now gone on the inside.
So you have to sort of twist it around.
Yeah, twist. When you say slick, it really is actually, you are slicking it round. It does go round quite nice and slick, if you see what I mean. There it is, look, so that the loops now are on the inside.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And then you start wrapping. So you wrap and turn and wrap and turn. That's why you need so much of it, because you want to have enough thread to be able to finish the spokes on your wheel. Because we're making a Dorset cross wheel.
Right.
So mine looks like a kind of bicycle wheel now.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay. So then pick up your needle, which is on the other end of your thread. I must have got about 6 meters on mine, I think. And go through your spokes. Keep it, try and hold it tight if you can. Go through your spokes and just keep going round the spokes. So I'm not going round, so going sort of halfway over. You see what I'm doing?
Yes, yes.
So you're pulling it up tight in the middle, and then pick another spot and go through. So I've kind of quartered mine really. And pull it through, and then go through again, and you should end up with a little bit in the middle that's kind of, well, not cobbled, but you know what I mean. It's kind of fastened in the middle.
Yes.
And once you're sure that's going to stay fairly tight, you can start weaving round. Try and get it as near the middle as you can. And then start weaving. So you'll be going over and under. And I'm doing this over and under 2 spokes at a time. So over and under.
Right.
Just keep going over and under. Is anyone stuck?
No.
No.
No. No.
All your students. It's good. My middle is a little bit wonky. It's a little bit off centre. So I'm going to have a hoppy go one wheel on mine.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like
like
that.
that. So, and then if you just keep weaving round and round and round, you'll get to the edge. So you'll get to I think I've got one that I've done. Can you see that one?
Yes, I can. Yes, that's
And
nice.
that's the back of it.
Oh, right.
So where I've
Right.
woven round and round,
Yes.
that's the bit that you're going to see.
Oh, that's pretty.
And so you can
Yeah.
keep going around, but you could put beads on it or French knots on it or anything you wanted, really. I did try these on a cardigan and they weren't so successful. They're quite difficult. They're not easy to undo. But on the back of a cushion, I had some little ones like that and they were all right.
Yes. Yes.
So
Very pretty.
you can match them up then. So if you made one for your journals, you know, you could have what colour you wanted, couldn't you, really?
Yes.
Just need you just need the right size of ring. So there's a tiny one there which is made on a really small ring.
Right.
Ah, wow, that's
That's what I've done so far.
that's a hazard of the job. That looks a bit thick, Ruth. Let's have another look.
Too thick, is it?
I think it might be. Yeah, I think you've got too many spokes on your wheel.
Ah, right. How many spokes required?
I don't know. Let's have a look. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Oh.
I've got 12 or 13.
I think what I may have done, you know, when you do a spoke, I've gone round a few times on that spoke.
Oh, no, you only go round once.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Nice to
Thank you,
see
Trixie.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trixie.
Bye.
Thank you, Trixie. Thank you very much, Trixie. Thank you so much.
Lovely.